Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I'm your host here, Chantele Francis, here with my lovely co-host, Tanya. How are we doing today, Tanya?
Hello. Yeah, just, serving casual glam for a 7 p.m. Tuesday night podcast.
Well, I feel like it's like you're at the rose, like the cocktail party right now. Like you are
Yeah,
ready to meet the Bachelor.
I'm ready to receive my rose. This is my, ensemble, my first night ensemble, this sweatshirt and sports
Like
bra.
casual, but like still quite fancy. I like. Well, if this is your
Thanks.
first time on Reality Realness, welcome. We are happy to have you. Please join us in the comments. We love chatting to you guys. And my favorite part is subscribe now. We are on our way to 1,000 subscribers, and we're getting close. We are about 380 away or something like that. So we're really getting close to there. And like anything could happen. So let's try to make it happen by the end of the month. Like how cool would that be if we got to 1,000 subscribers? So who do we have joining us? We have Sam. Sam's here. Hi, Sam.
Hey, Sam.
So that's basically what we were saying. We're like, this is going to be a good one to talk about. So what are your overall thoughts of the episode, Tanya?
Oh, this episode left me feeling discombobulated, is how I would describe it, because we started with a rose ceremony. It's again going in this order that's not what we're used to, and I really felt thrown off from start to finish of this episode. Like from the beginning until the very end, I felt all over the place. Yeah.
I totally agree with that. Hi, Tamika. Hey,
Hi,
ladies.
Tamika.
So it starts the episode with, Matt sitting on the railing looking out a yonder. Did you clock this pose? A, it looked uncomfortable. B, I was a little bit scared that if he fell backward, like he actually could fall and hurt himself. And C, like, what is he really thinking about?
I know.
I thought about the episode.
What was he thinking about, and how long did they film him staring out? Like, what was that? Because if you remember at the end of the episode with his dance moves that we see in a bizarre and hilarious clip to leave us until next week, with no music, everything feels really awkward. So I'm just picturing him staring off this balcony for like half an hour with no sound. Like, what was happening?
Honestly though, it was a long time, and like I couldn't, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's just because I don't care for him that much, but like I just feel like he has no thoughts going on there. What's happening in that head right now?
Nothing.
So I thought that it was hilarious seeing him looking yonder on the railing. Okay, so we get into episode 4, and it just really, it's starting this whole thing again with having like the end or the middle of the episode at the beginning. So we get re-teased about the transactional relationship with men line with Anna. And I'm talking to Victoria in that scene. And then we cut to all the women sitting in whatever, their little lounge area. And we hear Victoria say, the trash took itself out, when they're talking about Sarah leaving the show. What did you think about Victoria, in this little scene, and then the beginning of this spat and rebuttals with Katie?
I think Victoria's always been a lot, as we've discussed, and has always arguably been too much, but I think this episode really solidified that she just took it way too far, and that initial opinion that the women had about her is really true, which is that she's rude. Like she really took it to a place that I don't think it needed to go, but because she was kind of on the majority of the women's side with the Sarah situation, she didn't come across like as terribly last episode. But now that all that's been settled, she's just left with insults, and it's not a good look. Everything she did this episode was too much.
And like, okay, I'm not into making other people feel super bad about themselves, but I do watch like Drag Race, and there's, you know, good burns sometimes, or like funny. I guess like she's just not funny at all. It just comes across as, it does come across as toxic to me, and it does come across as very mean to me. And I would probably be the Katie in that group, being like, who are you? Like, get out of here. Who likes you? Bye. Like, I don't know. I'm surprised that the other women haven't revolted against Victoria. Like they're kind of siding with her, which is what I think is surprising. Even some of the people that I thought I liked are kind of allowing her to have this behavior. And I know it's kind of the group think thing, and I know it's like a mob mentality. I get girls all living together, fighting for the same guy. So I get that it brings out interesting sides of women. But like, isn't there going to be more than just Katie that doesn't think it's okay how Victoria is acting? She's not acting like a kind human being at all.
And it's like the personification of the phrase the audacity. Like the audacity that she has to do some of the things that she's done. And like you said, that nobody except for Katie has really addressed it directly with her. Maybe Brittany kind of sort of stands her ground as she's being attacked initially. But beyond that, like everyone's sitting there and just kind of like awkwardly laughing. And I get it. I'm not, you know, someone who is the first person to jump up, but you would think that some people would say, hey, Victoria, stop. Like, don't do that. Don't touch her crown. Don't do this. Like, there's so many things where it's just like, I think it needs to be said, like, this is not okay, because she's just escalating everything she does more and more because there's not really any pushback. So
and
it's
probably
not cute.
Encouragement from producers being like, go see Victoria, say something else.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's good. It's good. You're the villain. You're the villain. Anyways, I was just not happy with how Victoria reacts also, because I feel like Katie was just like, will you just stop? You know, like she's just gonna be like cut and dry. And like, a normal person would be like, okay, yes, I took it a little bit too far. But like Victoria decides to push back. And I'm just like, okay, enough of the gimmick of Victoria. I'm pretty much over it. Like, I don't need to see some toxic woman like be cruel to people that aren't even on the show anymore, and they are dealing with other things that they're unaware about. So
exactly,
over Victoria for sure.
Absolutely, the internalized misogyny leapt out for sure. She really needs to address why she hates other women so much, and really like start to consider why that's something that she jumps to with the women that she's talking to on this show, and going for the low blows that she goes for, as we'll discuss later. It's not cool.
Not cool. Okay, Sam has a thought about Matt, but he makes good eye contact, so it ups the attractiveness a bit for me. I'm not into him at all. It's not. I think part of it, like maybe that's helping him up the attractiveness for you, Sam. But for me, I find the fact that he doesn't know how to handle these women, that's like brings him down a few notches. Like, I wouldn't want, you know, we'll talk about it more, but when anybody is interrupting these little mini dates, I know the producers are sending these women over to interrupt. I get it. But like it would be nice for him just to be like, hey, just give us 5 minutes, then we'll talk. Like, I want him to take some control. And the fact that he's just like looking at the women back and forth to see what they're going to do, it irks me. And it's not the vibes I would want my man to be acting in that kind of situation.
Yeah, he's just scooching into the couch and not actually saying anything in any situation. But I do agree actually with what Sam is saying. Like, I'm going on a journey with Matt these days because, you know, last episode I was disappointed in him. This episode, I kind of feel like he was being a good listener, and he acted in ways that I was happy to see, including, I guess we'll see if the proof is in the pudding next week, but the way that he responded to what Katie said, I was like, oh, okay. And then even on his one-on-one, I was also like, okay, he's listening. He's like giving people information that he's taken in that they've shared with him. I'm like, okay, Matt, you've got that aspect going on. But I agree, he's not, he seems very aloof, I guess.
Right? I want someone to take a little more control. Like, like, I can be the boss for sure, but like I kind of would want him to be the boss a little bit sometimes, you know? Some people would say simp, maybe. It's how he's come across to me, and that's not my vibe. So Sam also says he's a bit too nice, though, and can't kiss that well. Can't kiss well at all. His kisses actually really turn me off. But I'm happy that I've been hearing that he's posted his own memes. Was it you that told me this? Of his kissing.
Yeah, he
making fun of himself with that, so at least he knows. And it doesn't turn me on at all. Okay, so to me, some other info here. So Chelsea said she was laughing at someone else in that scene. Oh, I was wondering, because I thought it was really, 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 really out of character for her to be laughing at like something that Victoria said or whatnot. Theory on Katie's edit. Tamika, please share this theory. Like to hear that. So like you said in the beginning, we get discombobulated because I don't know where we are in the episode. So we're before the rose ceremony? Is that
I literally thought I missed last week's episode because I was like, what is this scene? The cocktail party of a group date? Is that where we came in? That was so random.
I actually can't even remember right now. I just rewatched it. But
like what?
Yeah, no, they're in a group date. They're still in a group date. Yes. Yeah. So they're still in the date portion, like the evening portion of a group date. So Mari is really happy that he didn't cancel the group date, that he still kept on going with that. I really think she's so gorgeous. And I like her demeanor, and she has expressed like not being happy with certain things that have been going on, but she doesn't do it in a way that makes me dislike her, which it seems like all the women are making me dislike them right now. And I'm like, I was rooting for all of you. I thought that you had the best group I've ever seen. And all of a sudden now they're just not great anymore. So MJ grabs him first and gets a little one-on-one after he makes the toast. And it seems like the theme of this particular, one-on-one chats were, I'm just worried about you. How are you doing? How are you handling this? How are you handling this whole situation? And so we had that chat with her, another chat with Abigail. Abigail saying that she didn't think she'd make it past week 1. Who else did he talk to? Obviously he talked to Mari. And then he talks to Chelsea. So Chelsea and Matt had a little bit of conversation. And I thought it was a real conversation that was like, okay, they talked about some true stuff that like I got to know her a lot more. And he seemed to be really listening. Showing pictures of her before with longer hair and how, she's had to have like a really kind of a spiritual awakening with her hair. When she shaved her head, it was a big moment for her. And so I really actually liked that moment. And I kept on seeing he had the look in his eyes that he wanted to kiss her. And I'm glad that he did, but like, I don't like seeing the look on him.
Yeah.
What do you think of all these little dates? Any of them stand
out?
I
really loved this moment with Chelsea and Matt. One, yes, he was being a great listener, but this is like a really nice way to see somebody share a vulnerability on the show that is something that informs who they are and is letting us in, but it's not some kind of cataclysmic life trauma. No doubt it has an impact on who she is, right? Of course. But like, this is great. I've learned so much about her from this conversation. The photo was so cute too, because then you get to know a little bit more about her. And it's surprising to me, like, obviously we only know Chelsea from The Bachelor for those of us watching, but I can't picture her with any other hair because she rocks her current hair so beautifully. So I was just like, wow, like what a gorgeous, gorgeous haircut that she has already. So to hear what she went through and all of that was nice. And I appreciated that she let us into that and shared that vulnerability with us.
100%. And I'm totally with you with like it not being something so traumatic that like maybe dangerous for them to be sharing. We were having kind of concerns with some of the dates on Claire's season, with, it being the right platform or time for them to be sharing some of these deep moments. But this is something that is deep, as you're saying, it was life-changing, but it's not something that like, it's something that she's overcome and moved through that does define her. And yeah, I thought it was a really beautiful moment. I love also how he was talking about her and her freakum dress that she wore now, because she looked amazing. She's like, I need a wow moment, and I think she brought that wow moment. So it was really nice to see them connect.
Yeah.
There. So Tamika says, I agree. He's the lead. He needs to help reining it in. Exactly. So, the theory is they are setting her up for the Bachelorette because it starts filming soon. Kate?
Okay. Just because she's vocally, like, actually standing up for things? All right.
I like Katie.
But me too.
I don't necessarily want to see a whole season about her finding the Bachelor or finding her partner.
I wouldn't have pegged her as like a contender based on what we saw of her so far, but
who do you think better maybe?
See, that's hard because it hinges on who he ends up picking. So I don't really know. I do like her. I do like Kate. Yeah. Like, I feel like someone like a Brie, I could see as a lead. Someone like Abigail, I could see as a lead.
I would love to see Brie, but I don't think they'd do another person of color this soon. I'm sorry. It's just the facts.
So, could be. But yeah, sure. I mean, I do appreciate what Katie's bringing. I do appreciate the fact that she's actually, like, not afraid to say something when she observes things going poorly, and seems to be operating from at least some level of empathy, which is very lacked amongst this group right now. So if that's what they want for Bachelorette, okay.
I'm kind of thinking, well, I don't know who I'd want more, but she's definitely not my number one.
No, not my number one.
Yeah, she's okay. She's okay. So no surprise to me from that moment. Chelsea does end up getting the group date rose. Obviously MJ wanted to get it. I already wanted to get that group date rose, but Chelsea, from the moment we saw, we knew that she was most likely going to get it. If she didn't, he might have some problems with the stands,
Yeah.
So cut to Victoria and Katie having a convo. Victoria calls Katie over basically and says that she thinks that Katie owes her an apology for cutting her off when she was sharing her truth. What do you feel about Victoria always using kind of buzz keywords and like coaching lingo in order for it to make it appear as though what she's saying isn't hurtful and rude?
I think she's trying to basically use the strategy of, like, you attacked me. What you did was wrong, not what I did. I was just expressing my opinion, which is very, Trumpy energy of hers. And I just think it's also proof that she doesn't really know what the hell she's saying, because when anyone actually steps up to her and just stands their ground, which we see Katie do, she can't do anything except for parrot the same thing back to her. Or Katie said something along the lines of, like, well, you were being a bitch, so I called that out. And she's like, well, you're a bitch, Katie. It's like, oh, okay. What is this, grade 5?
You could tell that she's like not actually smart and quick with her comebacks, because like she's just like thinks about something and like, well, yeah, you're stupid. Like, she's just not even a good fighter. It's so meh.
She's used to being the loudest person in the room, so probably a lot of people don't really come back at her because she's so outrageous. But for that reason, she has no ability to defend herself well or to articulate. I don't think she even knows why she needs an apology from Katie.
She just wants screen time. So B-Bean, hi B-Bean. Hello, Victoria's a master of projection. Absolutely. All of the hurtful things that she says to other women actually apply to Victoria. Absolutely. And on Tamika relating to Chelsea, so she had to cut her hair in 2019 due to health issues. So it's a moment that we actually don't really ever see shared on TV. It kind of was shared a little bit. Did you watch Felicity?
I've seen some episodes, but not really.
Well, Felicity had really long curly hair, Carrie Russell, and on the show she was having like this big transformation. And then she just like she shaved her head, like she cut off all of her hair, and it was a huge big thing in the show and the audience, and like it's a big thing. And hair is symbolic of like kind of spirituality and stuff like that too. So I was really impressed by them sharing that moment. I think a lot of people unknowingly were going to be relating to that moment. It was pretty cool. Carolyn says, no, I heard it was going to be Peter's recent ex-girlfriend, the lawyer. Oh,
Kelly. Oh.
Kelly over Katie.
I mean, I'm surprised it would be Kelly because from what I understood, there was kind of bad blood there because she was like not really willing to. I had heard rumors that she was like not really willing to go along with producers and was kind of like over it from that end. So maybe they're just trying to capitalize on the fact that that relationship just ended. But I don't want to see Kelly really. Like, she's not a person that I care for that much.
I like her more. I think I'd be interested in her more than Katie. So Tamika would like Michelle. I really liked Michelle. We'll talk about a lot about her. P, if it was a person of color. Abigail, if not. Abigail could be, that would be a more of a route I can see them going than Katie, just because Abigail, obviously she's beautiful, but it would be the first time that they had someone, that was hearing impaired, if that's the correct terminology, and so I think that would be something very kind of new up, like a new type of person that would be on the show. So I could see them doing Abigail for sure before Katie as well. Hi, Natalie. So did you see Victoria on Good Morning America? How do you think she did? I haven't watched it yet. I've been hearing about it. Did you watch it by any chance?
No. What happened? Tell me more.
I haven't seen it yet.
I try to limit my Victoria intake to just the episode because she is too much for me.
I know that she's basically saying that she's not a bully is basically the headline that everybody's been like, I'm not a bully.
I mean, she could be worse than a bully, really, with some of the things she said.
I think Kelly is not campaigning for it. I haven't heard anything from producers. And Michelle so calm yet lights up the room like Tasha. Yes, we're going to talk probably a lot about her. I liked her a lot. Even on this little date, though, he does have a moment with Piper where he was doing selfies with her. I kind of have everything mixed out of confusing because it would just like cut to a new scene. And I'm like, where is this scene happening? The date, like, did they just cut it in and place it anyway? So I just wanted to add that in, that he had like a moment with Piper. So they're going into their third rose ceremony. So you see the whole gaggle of girls, all 18 women walking in their dresses up the main staircase or the stairway. 3 women already have roses and 18 don't. Is that how it was? Or 3 women out of 18 had roses?
I'm not sure.
I think it's 18. He makes a toast about finding love. And hearing all these sound bites of women being like, 4 out of 5 women haven't even had a moment to talk to him in the 3 weeks that they've been there. And he's at the cocktail party now. So he's talking to Kit. Kit says she feels the chemistry. Do you see the chemistry between them? What do you think about Kit and...
He said he loves being around Kit. And I was like, okay. I don't see it. Period. For the relationship or for this connection, but you do you, Matt. You got to keep some people around. I don't see this pairing being a lasting one on this show, but she's 21, Matt. She's 21.
But I do think that if he finds out that her mom is such a celebrity, it might influence him, because I do think that he wants to be the Bachelor. Yes, maybe he's looking for love, open himself up, find a partner, but he also would like to have a little bit of success. And so to know that he'd be with somebody that they would be in the spotlight, I think would be a very good thing for him. So
I guess, and there's a New York connection there. So
yes, but / I can really see Kit on Paradise. Like She's paradise material to me. Ooh, okay. Natalie said there was a reaction to her mugshot. I do, about shoplifting. Yes. I mean, I haven't watched it, but I do want to see it. I'm going to. I'll let you know when it happens, so you don't have to watch it. So he says that he's going to be patient with Kit. Whenever I hear that they're going to be patient with Kit, it means that they're going to keep them around for a while, but they're not interested in them, and they'll send them home at like final 6.
Mm-hmm.
So Matt's talking to Katie and just talking about how he loved what Katie did that first night. Just loved it. Has he never seen a vibrator before?
I think his sense of humor is just so corny. Like, he's amused by the silliest things. That's why he thought Victoria's sex story was so funny, because it was just silly. And he was like cracking up, like, oh, these guys never laughed so hard in his life. So I think he just has a bad sense of humor.
I think I'm with you there. So Brie and him talk, and I do really still think that Brie is a front runner here to getting to at least hometown dates. There's something about what she brings out of him in his demeanor is calm. He doesn't seem all nervous and like kind of awkward. Like, they seem to be able just to talk and have a good conversation. It does still seem as though she's teaching him how to kiss, but it's still better than some of the other kiss moments that he has with other people. And Brie's cute when she's saying like, oh, I just would really like to have another one-on-one. And some women could say that and it would be annoying to me, but when she's saying it, like, I buy it and I'm not upset by it. So do you like Brie still?
Yeah, I think she's one of my favorites for sure. She's giving me like a Brendan energy in the sense of where she stands in the mix, which is like pretty good position, but still like not the most bold personality, but just like a grounding, like kind of calm energy. So I'm here for it. I like what we've seen of her so far. From what we also saw, she's not really involved in what happens later on. So while I would prefer for some people to be more vocal, at least she's not part of the mean crew. So feeling good about Brie.
Tamika says the Kit Kat pairing is imaginary. It's in both of their minds. Yeah, maybe and the producers probably like keep her around for a little bit. It's good for ratings. So Victoria has a one-on-one moment with Matt, and they're discussing about the fact that she's used to knowing if a guy likes her or not. And then, is that the interrupting or no?
Yes. Yeah, Chris Harrison
interrupts the date, and he makes it seem like somebody's hurt or like it's an emergency. Like, he does make it seem like something bad happened. So, okay, we are both in entertainment, okay? We know how these shows go usually. My question is, why are they teasing us in all the trailers leading up that 5 new girls are going to be showing up if they're going to pretend to fake us out? Like I would probably have thought, kind of like the women, that it was going to be Sarah coming back. And then I'd be like, oh my God, it's 5 new women, surprise. But I know it's going to be 5 new women. So like, why do they keep on taking away all these surprises? Can you explain?
I know. I'm particularly offended by Chris acting like this was the most serious thing and also acting like he didn't know what was about to come next. He's like, Matt, there's something for you. You have to come. Like, oh, like, you're not aware what's happening. You're the host of the show. Give it up. That's like really like you're dumbing it down so much for me as a viewer to believe that Chris didn't know that more girls were coming. Stop. Like, that's so offensive. Honestly, so offensive.
It's rude. So the girls are obviously speculating whether it's going to be Sarah. I'm confused as to why they showed us clips of new girls coming when they want us to pretend like it's not new girls coming. And so I was just really irritated. I don't know why they even needed to have the girls come. So what is the reason why these new girls are coming? Is it because Matt doesn't like any of these women and he needs to have some new fresh meat? Is it because they're just the alternates that they were being paid sitting in their hotel room anyways? They might as well have them come on the show. Is it like, why? Do you have a reason why they need to bring 5 new girls in?
I mean, do they need to bring 5 new girls in? No. What they said was it's because of the record response and number of
Oh my
applicants for the
God,
season. How
of
could we
course.
forget? That's why they said that at the beginning, just so we could tie it back in today. I
Oh
think
my
the
God.
real reason is probably they were like also quarantining. So it's a way for them to just like make things more dramatic and add them in. Cause that also happened with Tasha, right?
Yep.
So I think it's a quarantine thing, but they're trying to present it like the response and applications were off the chain. We had to bring more women in after 4 weeks to be met.
They're all looking to fall in love with him. They're just
Mhm.
looking at that. Yeah. I had wrote that down too. I like a record response. I didn't even know what I was talking about there until you said it. Yes, yes, yes. The record response. Okay, see, BB says, so Chantele thinks that Matt wants into Reality to fund his nonprofit ABC food tours. Yes, I do. I do.
Well,
I agree with you, Tamika, here. I've only seen chemistry with two people, Brie and Michelle, period. Do we see any chemistry with anybody else? I think he still has some chemistry with Rachel.
Rachel, yeah.
And he has some chemistry with Mari, I think, as well. Those are my four right now.
Yeah.
Natalie, Anna, and Victoria can go. Mm-hmm. Bye-bye.
Terrible episode for Anna. Terrible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can see what's happening next week. It's like she's gone. She's gone. I love that he interrupted Queenie's date. That drove her mad. Yes, I know.
It's true.
Like,
I'm glad it was Chris.
she can't get mad at the host of the show, you know?
No. There's nothing she could say.
They had too many women who wanted Matt. LOL. Record response. Lol. Okay, so as Nick Vial said that they don't have to minimize travel costs. More women is not an issue. Yeah, I mean, it's just that Matt couldn't really handle the 18 women that he has already. Like, he's not, for whatever reason, he's not developing connections with many of them. He hasn't had time with a lot of them. And so to bring in 5 more new people into the mix, it just doesn't seem he doesn't seem like the guy that can handle it, to be honest.
He had to take a breath.
What about Abigail? Yeah, no, I really like Abigail. She does. I do think that they have.
I think they have chemistry. Yeah.
Agreed. Okay, so what happened next? So the first girl that comes out is Brittany from Chicago. And she's making up for lost time. So she just lays one on him. Now, do you think that he knew that she was going to kiss him and like he like had like a Listerine strip that he put in, like a Tic Tac? Like, what if he has stale like breath from talking to all these women for the last hour?
Yeah, or like just cocktail breath because he's just been like drinking drinks waiting for this. I mean, I thought it was a bold move. I like Brittany from what we see of her so far, to be honest. I like a woman that can stand her ground and just like, the way that let's be honest, these girls coming in now have the odds stacked against them in terms of being favorable from the people that are already there. But it's perfectly reasonable, I think, for Matt to let some people go that have already been there and make way for new relationships because he probably knows for some of the women that he's kept up until this point that they're not going to be the person that he chooses and that they're probably not going to really grow into that either. Like he's probably already determined who are his front runners, who are like maybes, and then some other people that are around. So to me, it's perfectly reasonable that he would let some of them go and then explore new relationships here because some of them are not working. So I think it's fine, but it's unfortunate for the women coming in because it's clearly a setup for everyone to be against them.
Mm-hmm. So Bean said, did Brittany have consent to kiss Matt? Matt is 6'5", so he had to lean down. Was that his consent? He kissed her. He allowed the kiss to happen. So I would say that that is consent. She looks really familiar to me, though. I don't know if she's been, like, I know she says she's a model, but she just looks like someone I've seen before, met before, or know. So I thought that was interesting.
Have you been receiving DMs about her? Have you been getting messages about her?
No. Minnesota. I loved her dress. I thought it was gorgeous. Ryan, they didn't show Ryan and his interaction at all, really. Kimberly didn't really show her that much. When she came in, she seemed very sweet with her, hi guys. I thought she was really nice. Catalina, who's Miss Puerto Rico universe, hoping to become the queen of his universe. And then we're going to get more Victoria vitriol. So Victoria decides to take the crown from friggin' Catalina's head, just like yanks it off, puts it on her own head. Like, that's not, like, it's gross. And then decides to take it off and just put it on the table. And poor Catalina is just like, she didn't know how to react because it's so rude and ballsy, and like, that's like, you could start a fist fight over something like that. Like, don't touch, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
what do you think of that bold move?
It was so uncomfortable. Like, again, the audacity. How dare you take something off of someone that they're wearing and put it on yourself, and then also insinuate that you're more deserving of wearing something than someone else, when at least I know what Catalina does. At least I know that she's Miss Puerto Rico universe. What are you? We don't even know your job, Victoria, because your job is queen on this show. So how dare you even do that? And then, yeah, that everyone just kind of was like watching it kind of like a train wreck and not do. I think some of the girls who were like, Victoria, oh my God. But nobody was like, oh, don't do that, you know? Like, maybe don't do that. That's not nice.
I don't know how they're letting her get away with this stuff. Like, I know that they're a little bit young, so it's shocking to me that they're letting her get away with it. If someone took the crown off my head like that, I would have probably swat their arm away from me. Like, that would be my natural reaction, would be like, you know what I mean? Like, excuse me? Like,
I would like to say that I would have the ability to be calm and rise above in the way that Catalina did. But to be honest, if someone did that to me, I would immediately curse them out for doing that to me. Immediately.
I mean, I don't know if it's because we were on the show and they don't know what they can say or what they can't say, and they don't want to come across looking a certain way because they're on camera. I don't know if that's kind of coming into play with people's reactions, but I would definitely have, well, I don't think she would have said that to me or done that to me. Like, I think I don't know. I don't think she would have the balls to do that to me. It's just I can't even picture it as a possibility, but she would definitely get a swat and be like, don't effing touch me. Victoria was mad that Catalina's crown was real and won, honestly. Yes, she was, Tamika. Victoria is just like jealous, unkind, insecure. Like, she's just not a very good example of a woman, in my opinion. Sam says if that were me, I wouldn't even allow her, but they might be scared that production will kick them off for a possible fight, maybe. Well, she would be a SWAT for sure, because she's putting her. That's like, this is my territory. You're not allowed to enter that space unless you want to get swatted. Victoria is going to disrespect the wrong woman one day, and it will cost her. LOL. Okay, is she like that in real life, or is this only how she's playing this character on this show? Because I just can't see. It's not a three-dimensional person. Like, she can't act like that all the time. Like, when is she ever real?
I think she is for real, which is really sad.
Like, it's
just I really think she is for real.
Empty. Like, it's not. It's just she's no real personality other than being a bitch.
Yeah. From what we've seen.
But she must have been seriously bullied or something when she was younger, and this is the way that she's been able to retaliate to, like, save herself or something. Okay, so Matt comes in and proposes a toast to the new arrival. There's just so many toasts and so many rose, like group date ceremonies. I understand your discombobulation, if that's a word. But right away after the toast, Victoria's like, can we go finish that convo? And I was like, it's just so awkward because, like, he's like, okay, yeah, let's go. And she doesn't really have anything to say. you know?
No. I don't know
Yeah.
where she was trying to go with that. Like, I thought when it got interrupted before, there wasn't really much more to dive into, but sure, let's wrap it up. I just love, love, love what happens next, though.
When
A
Brittany
boss move.
Brittany
Yeah.
interrupts, and she actually leaves kind of more graciously than I thought she was going to leave. And so Brittany and him have another moment. I think that they kiss in there again. I was like, bold. You see a little vignette of Michelle, who seems to really get him laughing, and that was the first time I noticed, like, oh, they get along quite well. Just meeting the very first time, like they seem to have good conversation in their first meeting. So I was already like, Michelle, okay, I think he seems to like her. So at the rose ceremony, we have MJ, Piper, Bree, Maggie, Mari, Ryan, Kit, Serena C, Abigail, Katie, Victoria, Lauren, Jasenia, Anna, and Catalina all received roses. The people that left were Kayla, Kim, she was new, and then Kaylee, the girl that came out in the lingerie. So I think it was only the three of them left. I think that's what was saying. So 18, they added 5, and then 3 already had a rose, and then I think 3 left. So there's 21 women now still. God,
so many.
Week 5. Oh, yeah, we already said that. I felt bad for Kayla. It seemed like she did want to get to know him, but she really didn't get a chance. Kim did have a shot. I think that her personality was just a little bit too soft to be able to get into that lion's den with those kind of cats. And Kaylee just seemed like she wasn't really vibing with him. Nothing was really going on there. But Catalina makes the toast, and it's to love. Next day, Chris welcomes the new ladies and kind of asks about how their reception was. Like, Chris knows that it wasn't good. They set it up for it to be terrible. And so they're all kind of sharing that they didn't expect to be treated so well. How would you be feeling, and what would you share with Chris in this moment if you were one of the new women?
I think I would just probably say, be real about it and be like, yeah, it's difficult to come into a group where there's already relationships established amongst the women. And also with Matt, it makes you feel like you're kind of, coming from behind, but that's not how I feel the show works. Like, I don't think that you need to earn love in segments and build up over time to get to a place of love. You can have a connection with somebody that's more instantaneous. You can have one that builds over time, but they seem to have this concept well, there's steps that I have to do to move along with Matt. And that's not how life works, So
what do you think about the new dynamic of the OG women and now the new women? Like, the fact that there's a clear divide there.
I mean, OG, it's been a couple weeks. Come on. I get that maybe that probably feels like a long time when you're filming a show and you're disconnected from reality. I get why these women have friendships, but again, just being a kind person can go a long way. You don't have to be best friends with anybody, but also just be nice. What if you were in their shoes? By luck of casting, you're the group of women that got to go in initially, and they're the ones that got to go in after. But by really, they probably went through the entire same vetting process and have just been waiting to enter. If you were in their position, I hope some people would be just friendly. You don't have to be best friends, but don't be mean. They were ready to come at them with daggers, and I think all of their anger that they've been festering is just got spotlit on the women that came in. But it's already been brewing, and they've been stewing on it and complaining about it for so long.
Well, and I think the reason too why it's blown out of proportion here is if they're not getting on dates and they're just all sitting around waiting for a moment to be able to talk to him, waiting for the rose ceremony to get to say 2 words to him, waiting for maybe I'll get a one-on-one date this week. And so they've just been waiting for like a second to have with him. And so then to know that like they're not even going to get more time with him potentially now because some women have left, I can see their frustration. But I really wish that they responded in a more mature fashion. Kindness.
Like, this isn't Bridgerton. It's not like, you know, you're waiting for your caller to come to the house to ask you on a date, and that's when you speak to this man. Like, go be aggressive. Like, you don't have to be extra. You can cut in, which is what everyone does, but get your time. Like, it's a competition show. Like, come on.
Rachel says, I don't know how she thinks her behavior is okay. I'm 17 and I'm more mature than Victoria. Come on.
Seriously.
She's really immature. So Bean says, why do you think that the season has the meanest women ever? Is it because of the lockdowns? I thought the USA had the empathy awakening in 2020.
Peter's women were also mean.
Peter's?
Mm-hmm. The cats and the rats and like all of that drama. I thought that they were, you know, beautiful women who were pretty mean. So this group is also mean, but I don't think it's like the overall meanness of them. It's the mob mentality and it's the pile on. Like, their insecurities are just being placed on others. And when one person gets targeted, they all kind of just go along with it because it's easier for them to just go along with it and not stir the pot too much than to take a stand, which I don't believe is true as a statement in life, but they're coming at it because they want the followers and they want to be on the show and they want to stay on the show and have these relationships. They're projecting issues on to other people. So it's not a good look for any of them, to be honest, at any age.
It's like it reminds me of high school. Like I remember, how it used to work would be like if say like I didn't just decided I didn't like somebody anymore, and then I told somebody that I didn't like them. I'm like, oh, I don't like that they did this, and this, and then it just like wildfire just spreads to everybody. Like, oh my god, they did this. Like we don't like that. Like and just like and everybody just starts not liking this one person, and they didn't really probably do anything that much, but like one person just like was annoyed by them, and all of a sudden like they're the most hated person and they're being kind of bullied, you know? But it's a very high school way of interacting with other human beings. It's so weird. They're all at least 21. Like, so Natalie hates the OG's titled this is their first time that they've been on TV. I mean, I understand to say that they're the OGs just because they were there first and they've been there for the last 3 weeks, and it's just an easier way, like new girls, old girls, old girls, OGs, originals. I get it. What happened next, though? It's so confusing, this whole... Oh, right. Okay. So the date card comes, and Serena reads it. I don't remember which Serena it was. But Mari, Bree, Abigail... Who's that? Brittany, Ryan, Catalina, Maggie, Anna, and Victoria are on this date. Let's fall in love. So Ben Higgins decides to show up. Were you excited to see Ben Higgins here?
I put Ben Higgins. I could not care less.
Right. Especially since like his journey didn't work out very well. He said, I loved you to both the final 2 women, like broke poor little JoJo's heart. And then he didn't end up staying with Lauren. Did you watch their show that they had?
No, I didn't watch. I didn't watch that show.
It was bad. It was good, but it was bad. Lauren and Ben like had a show where they were like moving in together or something like that.
I just find Ben is such an overrated lead in terms of I would say like Bachelor canon, in the sense that a lot of people that I know and a lot of people online reference him as their favorite Bachelor, and I don't understand that. I just like don't think that the man has that much charisma to warrant the level that people put him in, especially like in this franchise. No. And I am also kind of annoyed by him, but that's just personal.
I agree. I've never was like the biggest Ben stan. Like he's okay. I like him more than many, but like I don't like him that much. He's just okay. So he does say that Ben planned this date. So why is Matt not having any sort of seemingly given any sort of creative license to like what dates he's going on? But Ben planned this one. And it's Fall in Love Fest. It's an obstacle course. What do you think of this date?
I don't mind an obstacle course. I think that's kind of fun.
Me too.
I would like to do, if I'm gonna do like a physical challenge, this would be more fun to do just because it's kind of silly and you just go with it and you're wearing a squirrel suit and in a giant like pumpkin like rowing, like it's fine. But I thought it was pretty funny. As funny as an obstacle course on this show could possibly be.
Yeah, no, I totally thought it was pretty fun. I would enjoy doing this kind of date for a group date. So you have to go and do the pumpkin race in a 1,000-pound pumpkin. Basically, that's to like row across a lake in this pumpkin. Put on a squirrel costume. I love a good costume. I like when people don't take themselves too seriously. So putting on a costume does that. It annoyed me a little bit, tell me if you clocked this, when Matt was kind of on the sidelines kind of coaching. This is like, don't do that.
Coach Matt.
He's
like
I wasn't really a fan of that. And so then they had like a balance beat that to run across, and there was a foot race to the end. And poor Maggie, you're right, BB. Production was wrong for leaving Maggie in that lake for 3 days, LOL. I mean, she didn't get the hang of it. I don't think she was there for 3 days, but like, pull the girl in. Like, Maggie, she's so cute.
They really trolled her with the editing this week. Like, I appreciate what they showed because it was really funny, like between this moment and then also at the end, which I referenced before with Matt dancing, which I think is like, honestly, like I keep thinking about this clip. We can talk about it in more detail later on. I'm just like blown away by this moment. It's so funny to me, his dance and just everything. But like that's all we get of Maggie. Like just those 2 clips this week. That's it.
They're endearing. It made us like her.
I love it.
They had to. Oh, they did find acorns at some point as well. But Mari wins the whole little obstacle course thing, and she won she was MVP for the capture the flag as well. So I guess she's like pretty athletic and pretty competitive. And Chris Harrison was so excited to give her those golden nuts. Like he just really wanted to give her those nuts.
These nuts are yours.
He apparently his book is like a #1 on the like Amazon top seller list.
Like I said, a marketing ploy, a great success. Good job, Chris, and congrats to Chris's ghostwriter as well.
Should we review it?
yeah, maybe actually. Let me, on a scale of 1 to how much I hate myself that week, I will read The Perfect Letter by Chris Harrison.
Yeah, okay, we should do it. I'm gonna like I have a few Audible credits. I'm gonna like buy it. You think he'd be reading it if he was the narrator?
I'm gonna look that up because
that needs to be the thing. Oh my god, I love her accent as well, Sam. She's just all around beautiful. I really like. She's not going to win this. Maybe no, they wouldn't give it to her, but I would like to see her in Paradise, if anything. So at the after party, Matt actually grabs Anna first, which I was quite surprised. And she's all like, oh, thanks. So excited. And she's sitting there and they're finally having this conversation. And Brittany comes and interrupts, and it was awkward. Like, word. And Anna's just like, well, how about 5 more minutes? She's like, well, like, okay. And then they seems to leave and just come back in like a second. And it's just Matt needs to be saying like, hey, Brittany, I just sat down. Let me give you 2 minutes. And like, I'll come and grab you once we're finishing our conversation or whatever. And so he just kind of left it to the girls to figure out. And so eventually Anna was like, okay, well, I'll come and grab you again later. Fine. And so Brittany sits down, and that's, I think, where the kiss was. Maybe it wasn't the other time before. I don't know. There was so many kiss moments and so many cocktail party scenes that, like, they're all blending in one. But I really wish that he took control over that situation. I think it would have helped it.
I do also, but I also think this one's in the editing because the story is now about Anna knowing Brittany. And so that we can propel the story forward here for the key drama that happens. I'm sure a lot of the cut-ins are that awkward, like actually when they're happening, but they just played this one up for maximum effect because it complements the arc that they're going for with Brittany and Anna. But I think no matter what, when you're cutting in, especially in the middle of a conversation and just the way people linger around, it's got to always be kind of awkward.
I wouldn't go on the show just for that reason. I'd just be too. I'd just be like,
it's a nightmare.
If he's interested in talking to me, he can talk to me. I'm not going to go fight over this guy with any of you.
No.
Sorry. It's just, I wouldn't be doing it. I wouldn't be doing. I would have like the moments. Maybe I'd do like a first cut and be like, hey, let's go talk. Like maybe like snipe. But I don't think I'd go in and steal him from somebody else. It's too embarrassing.
No.
So awkward. So we get the scene that's been teased for the last 2 weeks. Victoria and Anna saying that apparently Brittany knows all the rich men in Chicago. And I don't know if she said the word escort here, but alluding to the fact that she was having these transactional relationships with rich men in Chicago, and that her DM's been blowing up with people warning her about Brittany. What do you think actually went down here? And how do you feel about the fact that she's completely defaming this poor woman to toxicity queen? And doesn't she think that she's going to get any repercussions for it? Like, it's a bad look, I think.
Oh, yeah. Anna just really showed her ass in this episode and showed her insecurity, like, from start to finish. Number one, if you find yourself relating with the person who was coming for you at the beginning of this episode, Victoria, who disliked you and openly was talking smack to you, and now you guys are literally chilling, laughing, and living your lives like your besties, you got to think about that decision for yourself, that that's who you're aligned with. And then secondly, it's completely not okay to refer to someone, if they're an escort or not, as a transactional relationship if that's their work and that's their job. That implication is really gross, and it's part of the stigma towards sex work, period. So I don't like anything about the direction this went. And I don't really like the way the show kind of handled this entire topic so far. But I particularly think that's kind of gross. And this should not be something where we're talking about the profession of sex work in this way on The Bachelor. Like, it's not being well handled, in my opinion.
I totally agree.
And it's not even true, apparently, too. So there's also that. But whether it was true or not, my point still stands.
100%. And I totally agree with you that, it's I would say this is the main bullying is starting to happen here. It's like, oh, she's now a sex worker, so we can dislike her and say that she's not worthy of being in a love relationship with Matt now, and now we're better than she is. And like, I was just like, who do you think you are to think that that is an appropriate dig? You know what I mean? It's like, I can see it, like, maybe if you're hanging out with your girlfriends and like you're just kind of giggling about it, maybe, you know what I mean? But I would definitely don't condone bringing it up on national television. Every single person that covers this show is talking about this allegedly, you know what I mean? And it's not even, if it's true even, this negative stigmas that are attached to it are going to be attached to her. And she didn't do anything to you, Anna. She didn't know who you are. You don't even know who she is. And you've already actually done something that could be potentially damaging to her image or work that she's been doing, because it's not widely accepted. And it's just it's just very, very bad taste. Being said, I could have been lying about the whole thing. Exactly.
Yeah.
And if she lied about the whole thing, that's even worse.
It's a gross lie. It's a gross lie. And then it's topped off with Victoria then using derogatory terms. Like, just because Brittany walked in confidently and kissed Matt does not mean that she is slutty. You know, like that's not a parallel action. That's not what this is. It's The Bachelor. Like, for her to start throwing those terms in the mix is super problematic, and then shows how even on a below level she is, because what Anna's saying is already bad enough. And she knew, like, she had kind of a smirk like on her face when she kind of said that she was going to reveal this information. So I do think that production maybe kind of encouraged her to like bring it up, probably to Brittany. Like, I think it was maybe something like, well, maybe you should talk to Brittany about it since you've heard these rumors. So she proceeded to bring it up in front of a group of women. But beyond that, it's like, how could you think that that would be the right thing to do? I just don't understand. And what DMs are you receiving? You're on the like, when did she get DMs? Like, who knew about this? Like, when was she aware of who else was in the cast? Why does she have a phone? Like, what?
I'm assuming that it probably gets out there. Like, I knew, even on Bachelor Canada, I knew a couple people that were going on the show. You know what I mean? So it's
they're just breaking the fourth wall. They're just putting it out there then.
Yeah, I think so. Just being like, hey, I heard that you're going to be on the show. Like, oh, so-and-so is going to be on the show. So I can see it being a possibility that she was being DM'd.
Oh, no, I don't doubt that she was being DM'd, but I'm like, you're really like actually talking about this. Like, this means that you would have been contacted like before the show, or like while you're in quarantine, or when you're waiting to go on the show and you're being told who else is going to be there. And then people are messaging you. Like, she's acting like she personally knew Brittany initially. Like, I recognize that girl. People sliding into your DMs and introducing you to someone or saying, watch out for this person or whatever nonsense, doesn't mean you know them. You don't know this girl. Like, that's not the same thing. That's not the same thing.
So Bean says, unfortunately, due to the waivers that they signed, Brittany cannot sue Anna. Well, Brittany, Anna's in for a rude awakening, and Brittany's probably going to get a lot of support.
Yeah, I hope so.
Rachel says, I'm confused why she didn't mention the escort thing until later. All she originally said was that she heard negative things about her. I'm thinking that she wanted to make it a bigger deal. So, because
she wanted to use it as a thing against her, and it backfired.
Exactly. I think that she was not going to share that maybe with people. Just being like, yeah, I was just hearing that I should watch out for her. But then I think she wanted to get a little bit more screen time, have a little bit of a storyline, have something to talk to Victoria about, you know? So I think it was intentionally dropped in order for her to have a little more relevancy. Yes, they're both from Chicago.
Yeah, but like,
so she could recognize her, and she could be doing, I don't know, like when I worked in bars, I definitely had been in situations where people might think it was transactional, like hanging out with people I would never hang out with because they're my regulars, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I just mean Chicago's a big city. Like, Serena P's from Toronto and could work in industries that we would be in, but I don't know her. Like, it's just clearly people messaged stirring it up, and she went with it. But I think why she ended up doing it was because of that, not because of, but the interruption is what pushed her to be like, well, now I'm angry because you interrupted my time with Matt that I deserve. So now I'm going to bring this up as a way of getting people to turn against you, which is really malicious and not, like you said, not a good look for her.
Yeah, it's really bad. Poor. I mean, I actually feel bad for Anna because I don't think she realized the extent of what damage she's done to her own like credibility, and like
Yeah.
people are gonna come for her for sure. So Matt and Bree are talking again, and I just was saying that they just seem to work, which is it's just, I like that. It doesn't look like they try that hard to have a good connection. He tells Brittany that he appreciates how bold she is, but he gives the group date rose to Bree, and then he just kind of up and leaves. Like, he gives the rose out and just like peace, like all the time, just out, out, out. And this is where Anna decides to confront Brittany. Now, why do you think that she did it in front of the group like this? Like, it just, all the hows of it was really just gross. Like, even if she wanted to be like a good friend or just like get to the bottom of the rumors, like, I think it would be a little bit more considerate, just to be like, hey, I had a few people messaging me before I came here and they're saying these things about you, and I, like, whether it's true or not, it's none of my business. I don't care. I just want you to know that people have been saying that to me. Maybe she could do that, but like, not even on the show. Like, she just needed to keep that quiet, I think. I don't know. But she puts her in front of all the women. And Brittany, exactly, Bean, initially said, and you just told everyone. I felt really bad for Brittany here. I didn't think that, she deserved to have her come like that in front of everybody. It would be so shocking and be like, whoa, this is what I have to deal with? Is you going around telling people that I'm an escort?
Yeah.
Brittany's initial response was crying, maybe from the shock of it. Absolutely. Well, it's kind of like when somebody steals from you. Like, there's some sort of like violation that kind of happens when you hear something that's so false about yourself. Like, I wouldn't feel good at all.
She held herself, honestly, like, she was emotional, but she managed to hold herself in a way that I really respected. How she didn't escalate the situation. She sat with it. She was clearly upset. She vocalized that that was not okay, but she just held it. And I think she's strong for that. I think it was not appropriate to bring it up then, but her intentions were not to be a real friend to Brittany, or to even have enough respect for Brittany as a person to pull her aside, as if any of this is even her business to begin with. But
and then that rude woman, Victoria, says, okay, then get out of the house. Who is this person?
She's snapping. Like, she has lost it in this mansion. She's lost it.
Yeah, not a big fan, absolutely. So in amongst all these little scenes, we do see that Piper wants to get the one-on-one date, but Michelle, so somebody new to this week, actually receives the one-on-one date, saying, let's make up for lost time. So Chris planned this date. Like, why do they keep on mentioning who plans these dates? I hope that we'll understand eventually. Maybe Matt plans his final date. Like, that's like,
well, it's because Matt said, remember that he needs to, get more comfortable being uncomfortable. So I guess part of it is not knowing, but again, I'm pretty sure they don't really find out until the day of what they're doing anyways, but sure. Otherwise, I don't really know. Like, Matt is not an infant. They're acting like he's a baby. Okay, he's never been on the show before. I get that. And he's the Bachelor, so there's a learning curve, but he's not a newborn child. Like, he'll be fine. He'll be okay. We don't have to have this angle on everything that Matt does.
Oh, okay. I thought you wrote crying because cringe has an E on the end. So I thought you forgot the Y. But okay, yeah, I definitely like it. The whole thing was cringe.
Well, what was she supposed to say, right? Like, what do you say to that?
Cringe is right. So their one-on-one date, though, is they're going on a scavenger hunt. I love this date. I love games. I love finding stuff. I like doing things with a date. that you get to know their personality, how they think. Like, I think it's a really good way to find out about somebody new. So the first one is they're zip lining, and then they have to go pop some balloons and find some hidden truths about each other, or hidden talents. So she can do some arm stuff. I wanted to see his hidden talents. I mean, I can't really. Oh.
His hidden talent is keeping his eyes open when he kisses.
What if he keeps his eyes open when he sneezes too? No, it actually, you can't do that because your eyeballs would pop out of your head. And they both say at the same time they want 3 children. So they were both very like, oh my God, they're the one for both 3 children. And then they take their love to new heights by getting in a hot air balloon. And the girls are able to see this hot air balloon, and Serena P mentions, like, imagine having your first kiss in a hot air balloon. And they did have their, I think, yes. It was quite romantic. They've just been getting along in this date. I love the date. I like how they're interacting so far. And so at the dinner portion, they talked about some serious stuff, and I really enjoyed how they interacted. You know, she mentions about how 2020, she's a teacher, 2020 was really, you know, life-changing for her and her students, and having to have a lot of different conversations or whatnot. And I appreciated how he listens. He's a pretty good listener, and his responses I appreciated. So did you enjoy this date as much as me?
I really did. I actually was very surprised by how much I enjoyed it. Just because we only are just getting to know Michelle now in the episode, so could have gone in any direction really. But I think that she came across as a very grounded and confident and intelligent woman, and I think she made him shine in a nice way too. I feel like they had a really comfortable rapport, and I liked their interplay with each other. It seems like she's kind of like challenging his personality a bit, but in a way that feels very balanced. And to me, physically, like reading their physical connection, he seemed very physically comfortable with her in a way that looked a lot more natural than some of the other interactions that we've seen. So I really loved it. I loved everything about the dinner portion. I put, okay, Matt, knowing a Maya Angelou quote. Love that.
Right. Wait, so with that though, do you think that she was trying to pass off that sentiment as her own, or?
I didn't know if she was just like, I like, obviously she knew the source, but I think maybe she was like saying it as like, this is just a thing that I feel. And he was like, hey, I know that quote. And I was like, okay, Matt, yes. But he was really there for her in that, and he was really listening, like I said before. So when he's like that, I understand the appeal of someone wanting to be his partner, because he checks in on the women. He really tries to ask them what they need, and he listens. So he's got some work to do in other regards, but I do think like he's at least very presently listening to them. He doesn't seem like he's distracted or out of it. Like he's there, and I like that about him.
Me too. And of course, she gets the group date rose. Now, how did you feel about the fact that there wasn't a hot tub portion after this date?
I'm okay with it because we get a shirtless Matt later on. So I filled my quota. Yes, when he's when he's working out shirtless.
When? I missed it.
Are you serious? It's okay. So it's part of the next part of the lead up to the next date where the girls run out to meet him in their like athletic wear. He's like working out like in the woods. He's like doing a punching bag. He's like doing push-ups.
Shirtless?
Yeah. He was shirtless, and then he put on a half zip when the girls came.
I didn't even catch. I might have been writing and like
workout series,
like just like going out of the punching bag, and he's like, "Oh, hey guys." Guys, like as if you didn't know that they're coming. You're just like,
I was cracking up. I was watching this episode. Oh, sorry, that's my alarm. I was watching this episode with my partner, and he doesn't normally watch the show, but he knows that I'm doing this tally for our recaps, and he was like, "Make sure you write that down." Who's shirtless Matt? He's working out. I was like, "Thank you." Whew. Really, really serious journalism that's happening in this household.
I mean, you got it, though. I didn't even catch that. So I'm glad that you have eyes on this topic, because I was like, ooh, 2 episodes in a row and no shirtless Matt. This is shocking news.
No.
On this next date, it's going to be Katie, Piper, Serena P, Rachel, Kit, Chelsea, Desenia, Lauren, Serena C, and MJ. Are you willing to fight for love? And so we get to the scene you're talking of, and they're punching bag in the forest, and he doesn't know the girls are coming, and they all come up, and he introduces them to a 5-time world champion, Mia St. John. So she's a boxer, I am assuming. Not that I don't think boxers are supposed to be gorgeous, but she was gorgeous. I was surprised by how like femme pretty she was. And so they're just kind of practicing sparring and learning how to fight. I would not want to be on this date. Me and my friend Cindy, we did like a 3-month boxing program where we had to like, I like doing the exercises. I liked hitting the bag. I liked like, doing like skipping things over ropes. I liked that kind of the part. That's kind of fun. There's always like little obstacle stuff that you'd have to do in practice, but then getting to like actually fight someone, I hated it. And it was really interesting, like, because like the amateur people were just like practicing with us because we were super new and basic, and they had a fight that they were coming up, and so one of them actually hit me, and it kind of hurt. And I didn't know what this feeling was, but like enraged. And like I just went red and just like went back and just like started hitting this one person. I actually didn't enjoy kind of the seeing red, which is, I think you would have to be able to see red on the regular in order for you to be a boxer or really good at it. So that was my experience. Have you ever boxed before?
I've never like boxed versus another person or anything like that. I've done like kickboxing classes, but that's like hitting I don't know what it's called, hitting a bust. So it's whatever. I'm so not capable of being physical with people. It's never been my impulse. Not even from just like, oh, I want to fight somebody, but just like, it's not inherent to me at all. And I would be afraid that I would get hit hard and like actually get hurt, which I think makes you get hit more because you're already scared that something's going to happen to you. So I would not want to do this. I also don't really think that this date was done very safely or well. This was like a serious contact that was going down, as we saw. So that didn't make me feel very confident in the way they facilitated this one.
Back to that date, if Matt had not mentioned Maya Angelou, she would not have cited the quote, LOL.
No, she would not.
It was just so effortless. They were so cute and grounded with their kisses were passionate. I agree. I liked it. Michelle's a teacher, so I don't think that they wanted her in a bathing suit for the first episode. Good call. Matt mentioned that she was an ex-athlete also. Yes, he was commenting.
I was going to ask that.
Pardon?
I was going to ask that because she seems like pretty tall herself. Because thinking of Matt's 6'5", as we know, like she was like up to his, like above his shoulder, I want to say even. So she must be like close to 6 feet herself, if not 6 foot.
Yeah, she's probably between 5'10" and 6. Maybe not 6 feet might be tall. Maybe 5'10". She
seems really tall.
Can anybody get the stats on that? Do we know her height? Can we find out?
And is she an ex-athlete? Like, what did she play?
Victoria would have given you some encouragement in the ring.
Thank God she wasn't in that. Thank God she wasn't doing that date.
So basically, they learn how to spar, and then they're going to be having fighting matches in front of the other women. It was all the OG or original girls that were going to be boxing in the matches. And I felt uncomfortable. Like, as you said, it's kind of dangerous. I mention all the time, you learn in acting class, you don't want to ever do anything that looks dangerous because it takes your audience out of the enjoyment of what you're doing. And so I didn't enjoy it. I didn't like seeing Serena P get punched in the nose with the ice pack. Like, none of that is entertaining to me.
No,
Why
and
did
it seems like they just rushed through it. Like, I think by the time this rolled around, I looked at my watch because I was like, are we really starting this date right now? And it was 9:47. And I knew there was still like some other stuff that needed to happen. So I was like, are we really about to just like toss us in? You flew Wells in, he quarantined, and you're giving us 5 minutes. That's how badly this went. This entire date went so bad that you didn't even show half the people. And then everyone just got hurt. Like, oof, wow, that's not
Yeah,
good.
definitely not good. Like, I started writing down who was doing the matches, but it would just like speed through too quickly. And I was like, it's not really that interesting for me to go back and like write down who was against who. He does end up, they have a night portion. So talks to Piper. I thought his talk with Piper is really cute. And she's just mentioning like, she just hasn't, she's falling for him so fast, giggle, 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 but she's adorable. And so she can do that. Rachel talks about him, about this being kind of like a complete reset. Like, she's really into him. She does seem to be into him, but she still has a bit of that phony veneer going on. There's something that's not right landing, but she's still really pretty. And I do think that he likes her, and I think she'll be around for a while.
He does like
girl,
her.
of course, are bitching again, and Katie is pretty fed up with this. She wants the new girls to be welcomed and not just be put on, the blast, the attack. Michelle Young is 5'9", says BB. Well, thank you. Yes, we do know Matt is 6'5". She does seem taller.
She seems taller, yeah.
She seems 5'10" to me, is what she was seeming. Like, she has a very lean body, but it's quite toned as well. So
yeah,
she didn't seem 6 feet to me, but I didn't clock her as looking 6 foot tall.
I guess also it's relative because I'm 5'3", so when I see tall people, I'm like, oh my god, how tall are they? And any tall woman, I'm like, she must be so tall. But they're all tall.
No, I'm not tall. I'm only 5'5", but I'm 5'3", seems so small. You're so cute. so tiny. How, like, when you and Michelle hang out, that must be like
it's actually a really funny height discrepancy. It's good. We have a lot of photos where I'm like basically like at her boob level and she's just like, towering. I'm like, wow, that's nice.
Is this the end of the episode? It is, isn't it? So basically Katie gets up, she goes and addresses Matt, telling her that, some of the bullying that's happening could have some effects to people's livelihood outside of the Bachelor and the show. Matt's not happy about this. He's going to get to the bottom of this, he says, apparently. I feel like he's not going to do a good job, but hopefully he will do a better job than I'm expecting him to do. And that's pretty much the end of the episode. Like, it just was such a mess. I want the format to come back.
I know. I mean, thank you, Katie, for having some fucking sense and actually bringing this up because it's getting out of control. Did you notice? Okay, so when Katie walks outside to go tell Matt is like chatting to this squad that's out there that then they just like go and, like, scatter off into the darkness.
I'm assuming it's the producers and like handlers and stuff. Like, it seemed like young kids because they're all wearing like toques, or beanies.
That's the thing. I was like, obviously this has to be producers or people that work on the show, but also like, who are these people? They look like they're just like in plain clothes, like chatting with Matt, and he looked like he was laughing it up. So I thought that was so funny. Like, and then they just went away into the night.
I'll catch you later, guys. Like,
yeah.
He's just, like, people that he's like towering over, like they're all just like looking up to him.
So good. I agree with you though. I'm curious about how he's going to address this. I mean, I'm glad that he said in the conversation, I'm going to address this tomorrow. Okay. I will give you till tomorrow and let's see. And then that this is a place where he's going to create a safe space. So, you had the opportunity to get rid of Victoria before. Instead, you got rid of Marilyn. Come on, Matt. Come on, Matt. Please do the right thing. You know what you need to do. And I hope that that includes both Anna and Victoria leaving the show.
Well,
Please.
you know that it looks like Anna and MJ are having a 2-on-1. So, and bet you Anna stays. There was no group date rose for that portion of the date, I don't think. I don't think they got there.
No, I don't think they got there. Because it was, the only group date that we saw was Bree's Rose.
Right. And before that was Chelsea's.
Yeah, Chelsea. And then that was still oh God, I don't even know what date that was. Chelsea's, Bree's, and then obviously for the one-on-one, Michelle.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the roses that are at play right now.
The three. It was so confusing. Agreed, Tamika. We also hate when they don't end with the rose ceremony. It is annoying because when we're recapping like this, we just can't figure out what happened when. It gets too discombobulated.
Discombobulating.
So yeah, I was like, what was Matt talking to the producers about while he was on a group date? Like maybe.
No.
Okay. So this was the best moment of the show was when Maggie's talking about how she loves dancing and any kind of dancing, and he gets up there, and I swear to God, I don't know if you're on TikTok ever, but he was just doing TikTok dances. So like he's doing like the whoa, and then he's like. And Maggie's like trying to like get into it. She's like,
it was the way that he was like kind of singing to himself for me. Like whatever counts he was doing in his own mind, I was living for it. I thought it was actually like, again, this kind of like, he looked like such a doofus, but I was endeared to it because he's really trying to relate to her. She's like, I love dancing. He's like, I'll dance right now. And I didn't expect him to commit, but he really did. And it was so ridiculous. I don't know. And I thought it had to be TikTok dances just because like the way that the moves. I just love it. I actually loved it. And then Maggie's reaction after was priceless. Priceless. It was like, wow. That's so good. But like the smile that you do when you're nervous. You're like, that's so nice, Matt.
His rose was from the last ceremony, shaking my head. Was it?
I thought it could have been, yeah. Who can say what day, what time, like what did we cover in this episode?
No, Chelsea, why would he be giving it to her at a group date setting? Like they're sitting down and he picked up.
That's when she showed him the photo, right? Like it was after that conversation, I think, that after that date.
That was a group date.
Mm-hmm.
It's a group date. It couldn't have been rose ceremony.
It was the previous group date. Tamika's right. It was the first one. Or sorry. It was the first one because then the second one was the obstacle. Because there was the one at the beginning of the episode that we came into. That's the one that she got. Then the other day was the the obstacle course, and then the boxing.
Yes.
So we didn't see the boxing one, but we saw her get it, and then So again, we're still behind.
It's just, why is it so confusing?
Bree got it on the Bree got it on the obstacle course date.
Gotcha. And Chelsea got it before the rose ceremony from basically last episode.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes.
I think if it was good, she would have joined in.
I think she also was confused because he was like, oh, you like dancing? Like, I'll dance. And I think she was like, should I dance? And he was like, no, you can stay there and watch. And she was like, okay. And then he started doing that. So the entire thing was like just ridiculous. But you gotta love it. I thought that was, I actually like went back and watched it twice.
Yeah, no, I watched it twice too. Maggie did not enjoy that, I don't think, but I think
She was so confused.
she didn't understand what was happening. But it definitely, I liked that part of this whole episode. I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
I'll take, like, I mean, I prefer a good dancer, but I'll take somebody that doesn't take themselves too seriously and will still bad dance. But it would be a deal breaker for me, to be honest. A good dancer, or like,
You're like, that's it, Matt. I'm sorry. This is where I draw the line. I mean, it lends himself to his corniness for sure, but it also shows you he doesn't take himself too seriously.
right, I like that, but I dancing is it is on my non-negotiables. So
Maybe not a future Dancing with the Stars run for Matt. Maybe not.
I mean, no, but maybe, because they like putting, like Nick Viall did it, and like Sean O did it. So
Oh God.
regardless of every bad move Mac makes, his dancing will ruin his career. Maybe, or he'll just get more followers on TikTok. Yes, funny. Well, that was, I mean, we got through that episode. It was still really confusing to figure out how it's structured, or lack of structured. Still loved it. So we're up to basically one. It's been one shirtless Matt prep. There's been 4 in total now, right? Or has it been 5?
5.
5. Okay.
This one
so
was
5.
number 5.
Okay, Matt.
We're getting there. It's gonna be. It might be down to the finish line. You know, it could be close. It could be close.
So, do you have any other front runners come out of this date, this episode? Sorry.
I think there's a case to be made for the rising status of his relationship with Piper. That seems to be moving up. Did they see in the preview, like, did we get any insight as to what one-on-one might be happening next week?
I
can't remember. But sure,
remember.
I'd say her stock went up this episode for sure.
Agreed. Also, obviously, Chelsea's stock went up a little bit. She might get a one-on-one. I wouldn't be surprised.
Michelle, for sure, like, very strong debut. She's definitely, in my opinion, in the front runners pack now after that date. So that's a big boost.
Now, do you think that Victoria is going to leave next rose ceremony or stay?
I mean, part of me thinks that she might leave because I think she'd rather go on her terms than be dismissed.
Think she'll actually leave?
Maybe if it gets so wild that she would actually, like, get out before they even give the opportunity for her to be kicked out by him. But I really just hope that he, like, comes to his senses a bit more. I understand it's produced and that they want Victoria to stay for the drama, but she's overstayed her welcome now, so we can move on. We can move on.
So, I mean, we could like, Piper's for sure a model.
Yeah,
but she's
that
probably,
doesn't surprise me.
Maybe she's doing both. Maybe she's modeling to put herself through grad school. Maybe. But she's obviously gorgeous enough to be. Well, she's gorgeous. Yeah. Any other front runners? I don't think that Katie's going to win his heart. I still don't think that she's going to be the Bachelorette. But yeah, I'm enjoying Matt's journey, even though I don't love Matt that much. This is way better, in my opinion, than Tayshia Claire season. Any updates in the Bachelor Nation world? Did you see it, read anything, see anything?
I'm trying to think if there's anything. I mean, did you see Claire's statement in response? Looks like we were right on the money with that one, in terms of calling out that was obviously not a joint statement, and that she was not made aware of that. So, and that she made it clear the entire time what she was there for, which is literally what we said last week. So I do feel badly for her, to be honest. And I think that's the big news that's coming out of Batch Nation right now, is just like the Dale of it all. Like, apparently potentially shady goings on, potential cheating rumors. The other one was what I linked you about Sarah.
I'm going to read the statement that Claire made. So I was made aware of a mutual statement at the same time you all were. So I've needed some time to really digest this. Speaking for myself, my intentions with this relationship have always been very clear. So the truth is I am crushed. This is not what I expected or hoped for, and I'm still trying to process this. 2020 was one hell of a year, with COVID, battling severe anxiety post-show, balancing a public new relationship, all while still losing my mother. It hasn't been ideal circumstances, but that is life, right? I have been looking forward to the light at the end of the tunnel. Our relationship was not perfect, but I can say that I was genuinely invested with all my heart. I may not have all the answers, but I do know this, I will continue to show up, stand my word, and be committed to love. XO, Claire.
Oh, Claire. I mean, girl, what did you expect? But also, he's in the wrong, in my opinion. If we're really following both sides of the story, I mean, we weren't there, so we don't know how it played out. But she made it clear what she wanted. So just don't go down that road. Whether that clarity and that expectation is too high or not reasonable, which we said, yes, but like, don't act like you didn't know. And don't do that to somebody who's going through what they're going through. Like, that's not okay. So I'm definitely like feeling for Claire in this situation.
Well, me too, because it's just kind of like, yes, he might have felt pressured from Chris Harrison in the show to like go and propose, but like, this is a lot worse. Like,
This is much worse. Yeah,
much worse. Yeah, Dale did make a video. I think I kind of watched it, but I'm not feeling him. So I just I kind of eye roll. So I didn't really pay attention to what the video actually said. I think he said things like, I really cared about Claire. It just wasn't working. Something like that.
Okay.
Victoria's mugshot shoplifting $250 worth of makeup from Publix in 2012 is circulating on GMA. She said she was happy not to hide it anymore. I mean,
wow, what a surprise based on what we know of her.
Yeah. The other woman said she's just friends with Dale. Yeah, there's like I think a real estate woman that's like coming into the picture about potentially have been dating him this whole time. So Sophia, Matt's old roommate, said a lot about Matt on Stay at Home podcast. I've heard about this. Have you heard about this? That he wasn't a roommate, and that he that apparently that Tyler would stay on the couch all the time, and that a lot of his male friends had keys to the apartment and would come and go as they pleased, and she never felt like safe, and like he just wasn't a great roommate. But who cares? Like, I wasn't a great roommate at some points as well, so that's kind of part of growing up, is learning to live with people. And if she never said like, hey, that's not okay, like, you just will let it happen, right?
I mean, he's clearly like partying it up and living it up. I know, like, when Tyler was staying on his couch, that was actually, I think, around the time that he was on The Bachelor, because he was trying to make moves to get his own place in New York, I think. I don't remember. Either way, they seem to be living, just like young, eligible, fratty lifestyle as two like hot athletic men in New York. So, live it up, guys. Like, you're partying with Gigi and Bella Hadid. Like, live your truth.
Right? So Bean says, an IG video is circulating of Matt with a group of friends on a golf course where they're making fun of Victoria's body. She responds, yeah, I haven't really fully heard, like, I listened to the video, and I didn't really hear, it wasn't that bad or whatever, but I didn't see the video. And so no matter what, it didn't seem as though Matt said anything like, hey, like, okay, let's draw a line. Like, don't say things like that. Like, he never really defended his friends kind of having shitty comments. So, yeah. But we already kind of have learned that he doesn't really stand up to people. So I don't really expect that much of him. So more stuff is just going to keep on coming out. So
yeah, there's lots of things to critique about Victoria that are not her body. So That's my thought on that. Like, let's not bring it to a point of discussing somebody's body. Disappointing to hear. Even though she's not coming across well, there's a lot of things that we can be critical about with her that have nothing to do with how she looks. So
It's true. It's true. Well, that's pretty much all that I've got. Do you guys have anything else to say in the comments? It's been pretty like spicy already for 2021 with like all like the breakups in the love reality game. I'm here for it, of course. Do you have anything going on that you want the people to follow you or, you know,
just
watch
the
you?
usual. Just the usual. You know me. Follow if you're interested.
So I heard that Rachel is a possible front runner, which is upsetting since I don't see that much of a connection. I see the connection between them, but I do think that she might be putting it on. So, and she's just like probably knows how to use her appeal to get guys to like her. So yeah,
She's like a front runner.
I can see her being a front runner, especially since she is very interested in church and, you know, like all the spiritual stuff that he is. And so, yeah, I can see her being a front runner, unfortunately. Maybe she'll prove it. But yeah, we can just send the ticker through. Please, guys, help us get to 1,000 subscribers. We're almost there. We're almost there, guys. We're so close. So let's make it happen by the end of this month. It was my birthday yesterday, so it'd be a lovely birthday present to get to 1,000 subscribers before this month ends. That would be like my ideal prize, birthday present.
Yes, happy belated.
Thank you, and thanks everybody for hanging out with us. All of our regulars here. We got Sam, Bean, Tamika. Oh, where was Dolores? Didn't see Dolores today. Right here, and Natalie, Carolyn, and if I miss anybody, we love having you. It's obviously a lot of fun. You guys always have the tea and keep us on our toes with like catching up on all the Bachelor Nation news. So thank you so much for hanging out with us. Please subscribe, share this with your friends, and we'll see you guys next week. Ciao.